Wow, it has taken a very long time for me to understand how important self-worth is. Everyone talks about it, but when you really see and understand how important self-worth is, it is mind-blowing. I've been on this journey since I was 19. I'm 45 now, and I've been on a spiritual deep dive journey for 13 years, approximately 13 years. If you don't feel strong self-worth, then everything in your life is going to become a reflection of that. But it won't look like a big red flag saying this problem is here because you have a lack of self-worth. Your finances, your relationships, your health, your body, your everything, your career, your lifestyle, your sense of happiness, none of it is going to have a big red flag and a sign on it saying, hey, the reason this is a challenge is because you don't have self-worth. And as a result, because it doesn't look like a self-worth problem, or more accurately put, a self-worth opportunity, because it doesn't look like that, it can send you on a wild goose chase, going around and around and around in circles, dealing with symptoms, dealing with, well, I must have a relationship issue. Oh, well, I must have a career issue. Oh, well, I must have a money and a finance issue. Oh, well, I must have a weight or a health issue. Well, yeah, that may be the manifesting symptom. But what really is the true root cause? Because if you want effective, radical, powerful, awesome transformation in your life, you don't want to deal with symptoms. You want to go to the deeper root cause level. And there is always a spiritual undertone, a soul journey undertone, a higher consciousness aspect to what's going on in your physical reality. You will only allow yourself to have in your life, to be, to experience, and to receive what you feel you're worth. And the irony is this: you might think you're worth XYZ, but you may not feel that way. And self-worth is such a bottom line, deeply ingrained aspect of you as a human being that it can hide from your awareness. It will definitely play out and leave evidence in your life experience for you to see very clearly. But it is such a deeply ingrained thing. We're going to go through in this episode a lot more detail about how our self-worth or lack of formulates and what we can do about it.
You're listening to Practical Spirituality with B, the podcast with spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic. I'm Bernadette Logue. You can call me B, and I'm excited to share this episode with you.
I want you to know at a deeper level, if you have a lack of self-worth, you will avoid opportunities, places, people, abundance, situations, blessings, opportunities, because they do not match your own deeply held view of yourself and your self-worth. Because things that are beyond your level of what you perceive as your worth, they feel uncomfortable, like they don't fit on you, like a piece of clothing that doesn't fit, or you feel like you don't fit it. And so we just avoid it. And we make ourselves think that everything's fine, when actually life is an incredible, amazing, mind-blowing, love-filled, abundance-filled, playful, colourful, amazing experience. And we could live this life and miss out on a good chunk of that if we have a lack of self-worth and we've convinced ourselves everything's okay and we're just plodding along at the level of our ingrained worth parameter, if you like. My job is to help bring you home to the fullness of who you really are and the total deservedness and worthiness that you are. So you have absolute free access to all the joy, the colour, the play, the dance, the experiences, the adventure, the magic of your life. Most people's challenges when it comes to lack of self-worth is this. It's a total misperception. It's a complete and utter illusion. It's filled with misgivings, programmed beliefs that you've picked up from other people that have nothing to do with you, ingrained views from your culture, society, ancestral conditioning, family lineage, and nothing about that has anything to do with you and your actual worth. And yet, let's look at it, let's look at the raw truth of it, and yet, even though it's got nothing to do with your worth and nothing to do with you, all of that totally and utterly colours your life in grey if you don't wake up to it and choose something different for yourself. When you know who you really are and you know what your worth really is and where it comes from, which I'm going to share with you in this episode, you will instantly come home into alignment with your soul. You will instantly get relief, and you will realize, my sweet soul friend, that you don't have to do or be anything to make yourself feel more worthy. You just need to wake up to the truth. Okay, so we're going to talk in this episode about self-worth and what it is. We are not going to be talking about it from a perspective of self-confidence, building your self-esteem, how to feel better about yourself, how can we boost you up. I teach all of those things in other formats, and they're all important, and they meet people at certain points on their journey and are really helpful. But in this episode, we're just going to the deep spiritual truth. We're going to be talking about the nature of reality and who you are, and we're not going to skirt the edges. We're not going to do symptomatic relief. Here's the deal. This thing that you're calling life, right? So you're sitting here in a body and you're looking out your eyes and you're looking at the world around you. That 3D reality that you call life, and this world that you're seeing with your human eyes, and this experience of life that you're having as a human being, it's not the total truth. You are incarnated here as a soul having a journey that's called life. And your soul has chosen to come into this experience called life for many reasons, of which I've covered in previous podcast episodes that you can go check out about plan and purpose. But this journey that you're having is what I call your soul Odyssey. It's an epic adventure as you're walking through this wonderland called 3D reality planet Earth. And this life and this dimension in Earth is just one playground where you as a soul, as a spirit, have chosen to come to play the game of life, if you like, okay? And here is the deal, and I go deep into this in my Soul Odyssey program. If you're not in Soul Odyssey, where are you? Come over, join me. I'm so passionate about this. This is like life-giving, life-saving, life-awakening. I'd love to have you there with us. In Soul Odyssey, this is one of the things I talk about. While you are here in life, while your heart is beating, while you are breathing, you are either going to be awake to who you really are and the nature of reality, or you're going to be what we call asleep inside the dream of life. If we are awake, we know who we are, and our self-worth is not even a topic. It's not even a debatable point. And I'm going to help you get a sense of that in this episode. But if we're not awake to who we really are, and we are what I call asleep inside the dream of life, then here's what happens. You come into life, you fall asleep to who you really are, you've totally forgotten, which we talk all about in the Soul Odyssey program, and you become completely mesmerized and hypnotized by this 3D reality, this illusion of life, and by the events of your life, the events of the past, the things other people tell you, the stories that your mind makes up, what's going on in society, your ancestry, your family lineage. You are like a sponge that is soaking up all of that, and some of it's beautiful, and really some of it is not. And where there is a lack of self-worth, there are guaranteed two things going on. Lack of self-worth is a combination of being asleep to who you really are. Even if you've had awakenings, you may not be fully standing in your knowing. I know because I've been there. So there's no problem with it. We just take a step further into true awakening and full awakening. So the first one is we're asleep to who we are. The second is we're completely buying into all of this illusion of conditioning. We're completely believing a narrative that is totally made up. A narrative of the past, a narrative of other people, a narrative of the events of our life, a narrative of the events of our family history, a narrative that society is telling us. And then from the position of being asleep inside the dream, with our mind running us and our emotions running us and everybody around us telling us what's true and what to do, we then try to navigate and feel worthy. So what we want to do is we want to awaken, fully awaken inside the dream. And then we want to drop like a hot cake, like a hot potato. We want to drop all of the stories and the narratives that are illusionary and that do not align to self-worth. We must do this for various reasons. We must do this to honor our soul journey. We cannot live our fullest expression of life while we carry all of that with us, asleep and baggaged up. We must do this for all the beings that are going to come after us, for all of the little ones that will be born in our family lineage and in our ancestral line and in our cultures and our societies and generations to come. Because the more people who are asleep inside the dream and are buying a narrative and living lack of self-worth pass it down by accident. And all those who are awake fully and who have dropped the narratives and the baggage and are standing in their true knowing of who they are and their worth, pass that down to others. It ripples out like an energy and you cannot but have a huge impact. So it's vitally important that we understand this. When we pick up conditioning, narratives from our lineage, our family, our ancestry, the country we're in, our parents, our upbringing, our experiences, and we make our worth based on that. This is what you can have, this is what you can't have, this is what's allowed, this is what's not allowed, this is who you are, this is who you aren't, this is what life is about, right? Constant belief conditioning, tales and stories, narratives and illusions. That's all it is. That's all it is. You can choose it and buy it and live it, or you cannot. You can take what works for you and drop what doesn't. None of these things are who you are. These are not definitions of your worth. If you come from a certain background or upbringing where you didn't have access to certain experiences in life or education or abundance, or you've grown up in a family line or a cultural conditioning where there hasn't been a lot of love or there hasn't been a lot of bonding and a lot of safety, you start to pick up a sense that what you have had is what you're worth and that's it. It doesn't matter whether it's love, safety, relationships, health, abundance, money, career, opportunities, lifestyle. It doesn't matter what it is. But whatever the conditioning and the narrative and the stories have been that are soaked into you, you'll either make a choice from awakeness that you don't like that and you don't want that, and you're going to shift a new trajectory and live awake, or you will stay asleep and you will live out that narrative, because that's just how it goes. So if you are not those things, if you are not, for example, you're not your past, you're not any of the things that have happened to you. The past is the past, and the things that happen are just things that happen. You're also not your personality. You're not your level of IQ or EQ intelligence. You're not what you do. You're not your job. You're not your possessions. You're not what you own. You are not what you wear. You are not your level of finances or your success. All of these things are experiences that you are having in this ride called life as a soul incarnated here. But these are not who you are. And look at this interesting thing. If you have a lot of beautiful things, like a lot of intelligence, really beautiful body, a lot of money, a lot of success, a lot of great experiences, you might have a sense of worthiness that you derive from that. But do you know what? There's a lot of people that have a lot and they still don't have self-worth. And they still don't know where true worth comes from. And they don't feel happy. And say you don't have a lot of great things in your life, or you haven't had a lot of great things in your life in whatever area, and you have a lack of self-worth. And what if you're in the illusion that you think you need these things in order to feel good about yourself, that you need to get those things in order to get ahead, you need to get those things in order to feel worthy? It's like chicken egg, right? Or horse cart, which one comes first? But your self-worth is not based on any of these things. Your self-worth is based on one thing and one thing alone. And that is the truth of who you are beyond what you think you are, beyond your personality, beyond this body that you're in, beyond this mind that you have, and beyond this life experience. You are a pure expression of divine life force energy, of what some call source, God, creator, divinity, universe. The oneness. That is who you are, full stop. The energy and intelligence and pure love that gives life to all life. It's one. It's the oneness below all things, behind all things, in all people, in all things. Life force, source, God, creator, divinity, universe. That is who you are. That is who you are. Worth is not even a debatable point. We do not debate the worth of the universe. We do not debate the worth of life force energy, which gives life and beats the hearts and breathes every being, every person, every creature. Worth is not even a topic when you know that that is who you are. And that nothing you do or do not do, have or do not have, where you came from, where you're going, will ever, ever change that. And so you realize when you want self-worth, and you know self-worth is the key to everything, because you won't let into your life anything, at a subconscious level, you will not let into your life anything that does not match your current level of self-worth, because it will be uncomfortable for you to receive it. And so you will avoid it or repel it energetically. And so when you realize this, here is the beautiful thing. You don't have to get anything to feel more worthy. You don't have to do anything to feel more worthy. You don't have to go anywhere or achieve anything to make yourself have more self-worth. And by the way, self-confidence, self-esteem, all of the selfies comes from self-worth. Because when you have self-worth, you don't need to be concerned about all the other selfies, because they just stand on, they stand on the back of your self-worth. What you do need to bring awareness to is all of the illusion and the baggage that contradicts the foundational truth of who you are. Oh, I'm not the things that other people told me. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm not the mistakes I've made. Okay, those are just things that happened. Oh, okay, I'm not my ancestry and my family lineage. Oh, okay, interesting. And I don't have to dislike any of it, and I don't have to reject it, and I don't have to say something is right or wrong or good or bad, because that's just creating polarity and duality. I don't have to do any of that. I just have to stop for a second and realize that I am life force breathing in a body right now. And because life force source, God created divinity, universe, oneness, is the loving force of all. And that does not even have a conversation about worth. And that's who I am. I feel my completeness and my wholeness and my worth in that moment. It is the remembrance of who you actually are. Your mind and your psychology doesn't get it, because your mind wants to grapple with everything it's seeing and hearing in the past and the future and all of the mental construct that helps you navigate around in this world. And you need that to navigate around in this world. But that is not the totality of who you are. That's why the spiritual dimension of you and your life is so important, that you can pause and be present and feel and know the truth of who you are and the worth that resides in the beating of your heart. And then you make a choice. You make a choice as you go out into the world. Are you going to let the noise in your mind and the narratives that say something else drag you through the world? Or are you going to lead with your heart center, knowing who you really are? Can you imagine getting up in the morning and putting your eyes, a soft gaze toward the sun rising, and knowing the sun is you and you are the sun? Can you imagine feeling the warmth on your face of the sun and knowing that warmth is the sun and the sun is you and you are the sun? Can you imagine breathing the air and realizing that what is breathing you is life force itself, and that that's who you are? Can you imagine feeling the pulse of your heartbeat and realizing life force is in you and it is you and it's who you are and you are it, and that's where your worth comes from? Can you imagine going out into the world with your shoulders back and your chest proud, knowing that you are a beautiful expression of life force, not from what you do or say or own or have or achieve or any of that? No, that's all illusion. Can you imagine remembering that you are life expressed in this form that you call yourself, and that life force wants to go and play today? It wants to play in the world. It wants to dance and create. It wants color and magic and laughter. And it wants you to remember who you are. It wants you to be awake inside the dream of life. Can you imagine doing that for yourself? Because that little practice right there is remarkably healing all on its own. It's about remembering who you really are. So to wrap this up, you are not going to be here on this planet forever, sweet soul friend. This is your opportunity to awaken to who you really are, to not live in the narrative of the past, the narrative of the mind, the stories of other people, the family lineage, the societal conditioning, the ancestral line. You are here to awaken at this very moment in time, to be radically free, to enjoy, to dance, to play, to create, to express, to receive, to be blessed, and to bless life. To walk around in this world knowing that you are pure life force energy poured into a body, a soul here having this experience, and to know your worth is that. There is no question about your worthiness. You deserve all of it. You deserve all the love, all the experiences, all the connection, all the bonding, all the joy, all the experiences, all the career success. All the amazing, beautiful things that you could want for your life, you deserve all of it. It's all on the banquet of life for a very good reason. Because those who are worthy and understand who they really are and are worthy go up to the banquet and enjoy. And those who are caught in the illusion and lack of self-worth, we hold ourselves back. And I say it with love because I've been there and I know firsthand. When we start to understand how powerful the role of self-worth is and the way that life unfolds for us, and we come to a remembrance of who we really are, everything begins to shift. Life will start to respond to you differently and mirror to you differently new experiences and new opportunities and new places and people and situations when you are in a place where you know your worth and who you are, and you are now comfortable to receive all of it. If you want to claim your beautiful divine nature and to live with the self-worth of the shining star that you really are, be sure to come over and join me at bernadettelogue.com. In my Soul Odyssey program, I guide you home to who you really are and to have you stand in your soul power, to align you at the level of your consciousness, your mind, your emotions, your values, your priorities, your choices, your goals, your behaviors, your relationships with others and with life, all of it. To have you fully awake inside the dream of life and enjoying your life with purpose, fulfillment, and magic. So head over to BernadetteLogue, Logue.com. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to me. There's a contact page on my website. You can email to support@BernadetteLogue.com. On my website, you'll also find that I have my spiritual life coaching and mentoring open at the moment, with spaces available if you want to work privately with me one-on-one during the month of June coming up. You can check that out. Again, that's at www.bernadettelogue.com. I'm sending all my love to you, and I look forward to sharing another episode with you next time.
Thanks for listening to Practical Spirituality with B. I'll talk to you next episode for more spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic.